We're delighted with Eldar Eldarov. He seems in great condition. He's had a very smooth training schedule, over the last 6 weeks or so. Really since he ran in Paris. Touch wood, everything's gone well, and his work's been good. He looks incredibly well in his coat and condition. He's got one more strong workout this week ahead of Veledja. Hopefully that goes as well as we hope, and we're looking forward to running him. His big workouts are behind him. As you saw this morning, he looks very, very well in his skin, tight in his condition. I think mentally he's in a good place, and what will be, but we're pleased with his condition. He only had the one start as a 2-year-old, and he was just a bit slow to come to hand this spring. He'd won so well at Nottingham in October, we'd hoped to have got him to a Derby trial, and that just didn't happen. He was just slow coming out of the winter. It took a while to thrive, and then obviously he ran in a novice race at Newcastle towards the end of May, and he won under a penalty, and then he went on to Ascot and won the Queen's Vase.
Eldar Eldarov is trying to catch him, so also is Harfit. These two bearing down on Zechariah and Colin Keane. Eldar Eldarov, the judge will have to split them.
Queen's Vase was a tough race. From there we dropped him back to 1.5 miles. He went to Paris. I don't think he disgraced himself. He ran 4th, but that was a tough trip. It was during a really hot week. I think 36 degrees was temperature recorded when they were racing in Paris, and to travel out there and travel back in extreme temperatures, have quite a tough race. We felt he didn't need to race back at Goodwood. I felt maybe going to York would come a bit close to Veledja. I was happy that we could train him into Veledja off a reasonable gap, and think he's quite a good horse fresh. He's a real staying horse. He'd won over the 1.6 miles at Ascot. Looked like he needed every yard of it. The 1.5 miles at Longchamp, the ground was very quick. It was a speed test over the trip, and to me, he was only just getting going as they were crossing the line. I don't think he disgraced himself. I think he ran fine. He just showed us that he's not that type of horse.
Kingston Hill and Snow Sky thrusting late.
I just remember relief that day, really. We look back on it with joy, but on the day it was relief. He was a strong favourite. I'm not sure there was pressure as such, but there was internal pressure, that he win that race. And you don't go into classic races too often with a favourite's chance. And I was delighted to be able to see Kingston Hill win, for connections, Paul Smith and his family, and but for us as well to notch a classic victory fairly early on in a training career is just nice on the CV. So it was a great day. Looking back on it, it was very special, and he was a special horse. Kingston Hill was a great big solid imposing horse who had picked up his Group 1 as a 2-year-old and ran 2nd in the Derby, 4th in Eclipse. He'd really brought Group 1 form into the race, and I suppose went off deserving favourite. Eldar Eldarov is he's been a bit more unfurnished through the early part of his career, I would say, and he's just starting to flourish now. Of course, Kingston Hill didn't race beyond 3, but I would hope Eldar Eldarov will be better as a 4-year-old and maybe even better as a 5-year-old. I just hope that he's a type of horse who's really only just starting out on his career. I think he's fully deserving of his place in the St Leger lineup. I think the Queen's Vase at Royal Ascot has been a very true St Leger trial over the last 8 or 9 or 10 years, and I think on that day he demonstrated a lot of battling qualities and strength and stamina, and those qualities should play to his strengths on Saturday. Believe in Love is in great form. She's a admirably consistent filly. I think she's a 3-time Group 3 winner now, and she's been Group 2 placed and Group 1 placed. She goes into the race in good form, and we would really see it as a stepping stone towards a crack at the Royaloo, a race that she was only just beaten ahead in last year. She was second in that race last year, so she goes to the Park Hill in good form, and she ought to run a very good race. Ishard is in great form. She's been lightly raced this year, but she looks like she's really starting to blossom now. She's very much an autumn filly. She came good this time of year last year, and as a 2-year-old as well. So I think she's just peaking at the right time. I think she'll go into the race likely as top rated, and I've been delighted with how she's trained recently, and I think she'll go there with every chance. Salsabila, yeah, she could take her place in the May Hill. She's a lovely filly. She's only ran twice. She lacks a little bit of experience, but she's improving quickly, I think. She would have to find another level to her form in the May Hill, but I think a mile at a track like Doncaster would suit her very well.
Cazoo St Leger Festival, 7th to 10th of September at Doncaster Racecourse.